I used to work as the weekend closer at a convenience store, and one weekend we had a power outage come through. It didn't take very long, but it was long enough that something went awry when everything came back on and the network was down. So there was no network communications happening within the store or from the store to anywhere else. And obviously, this meant a number of things, like we could no longer do debit or credit transactions, we couldn't sell lottery, stuff like that. But also, it was like Sunday night and it was like 10 o'clock. We closed at 11. So it was one of those things where it's just like, I guess we're just going to have to roll with this. I did contact IT and they did walk me through some troubleshooting steps, and we tested everything and found that, yeah, they would need to actually physically come to the store and replace a part or something. I think it was like a modem or something. I don't remember what it was, but it was a part of the actual network infrastructure that they would need to replace that got damaged in the power surge or the outage or something in that process. And they obviously planned to do so first thing the next day, but they weren't going to get there before we closed. And that was just what was going to be. So then, after dealing with that and moving on and, kind of working on some stuff and getting ready to start closing, the phone rings. And when I answered it, suddenly the person on the other end starts the conversation. No hello, no explanation on anything. Just the very first words out of their mouth was, "Are you seriously not selling gas right now?" To which I point out that, no, we're not at the moment selling gas. We can't. We're having a network issue, but it'll be resolved tomorrow. I'm sorry that we can't provide that for you. And he starts going, "I need you to go check this thing." And I said, "I'm sorry. Who is this? Why are you calling me up and just dictating terms to me? Like, who do you think you are?" And he goes, "This is Terry." I don't think the guy's name was actually Terry. That's just the name I'm using because I can't remember his name and I don't care. So he goes, "This is Terry." I said, "Okay. Who's Terry?" Then he tells me his last name. And when I point out that I don't know what that is relevant to, he informs me that he's the territory manager. So I said, "Okay, let me go check this." I put the phone down. I could have taken it with me. It was wireless, but I didn't want to. So I put the phone down. I walk back to the office. I check the org chart, and I see that, yes, indeed, the territory manager has that name. That is the name of the territory manager. And that information is probably not super publicly available, so sure. So I go back and I tell him, "Okay, your story checks out. What do you want?" He starts telling me to check all this stuff. And I said, "No, I'm not doing that." He goes, "Why not?" I said, "Well, one, that's not relevant here. Like, the problem is a network issue. And two, we already did troubleshoot the problem with IT, like the people who actually know how to fix this. They're coming out tomorrow morning. This is just a waste of my time." He said, "How does a network issue make it so we can't sell gas?" And I said, "Well, you see, we can't do any credit or debit transactions at all at the pump or at the register because there's no network communication to check with the banks or whoever you check with when you do that. And we can't do any cash transactions because the pumps need authorization. The register has to tell the pump that someone has paid for the gas so that the pump knows to dispense the gas. But it can't do that because the network's down." He says, "How does the network prevent that?" And I said, "Well, because that's what a network is. A network is how two devices communicate with each other. That's the literal function of a network. That's what it is. If it's down, these devices cannot communicate with each other. Therefore, the register can't tell the pump to dispense the gas." He starts arguing with me that shouldn't matter. And I keep telling him there's literally no world in which that can't matter. Like, there's no world in which doesn't matter. That what you're describing is literally impossible. I don't know how else to explain this to you. Like, this is a fact of what's happening here. So he starts telling me, I need you to check on these devices to see if we can get the network back on." I was like, "Well, one, no, because I already checked everything with IT, which I've already told you, which you can check with IT because if you're my territory manager, you know how to contact corporate IT. And two, you already proven you don't know anything about the network. So why am I following your instructions to troubleshoot it? What do you know about this thing?" The next day, he came down to the store and tried to get me fired. It didn't work, but it wasn't the last time that he tried to come against me. And I am so thankful I don't work for that idiot anymore. But the point is, what do these people like? What makes somebody think that they can give input on something that they've demonstrated they don't know anything about. Like, if you have a whole conversation with me about how you don't know how networks work, what makes you think that I should then listen to you to troubleshoot how the network works? I don't understand people like that.